It's your girl Zeze back at it again. Y'all know what it is. Today we have a very special event for y'all. Okay, this is the For the Podcast. For the Culture podcast event. Okay, you know that we are here with two very good brothers and myself. Okay, so I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Afro, why don't you go first?
Brothers and sisters, it's your brother Afro Elite here, representing for the culture like we always do. And we're going to set this precedent, set a new level, set a new tempo and a new formula that is going to change the game essentially. Okay, so you guys are in for a great event. All right, we've been planning this, we've been working on this, and today is the day that we're recording this, and when you guys see this, it will be mind-blowing. And I'm so excited for you guys to see it, okay? Representing hashtag FBA, Foundational Black American Culture.
Be one.
All day, every day. Man, first off, I got to send a salute out to both of these people right here that have been holding us down, Foundational Black Americans. We are doing something completely different. This is monumental. Everybody make sure you tap in. This will not be the last time you see us, but today is going to be extra special, something for the culture, something that we're going to always remember. So make sure that y'all all tap in, subscribe to us ahead of time, and make sure you enjoy. So turn the speakers up, get you some popcorn, sit back and relax, and let's break down everything that's going on with our culture inside and outside. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. And so to get things started, of course, you know, we are all pro-black. We are all B1, okay? And FBA at that, on top of that. And our culture is very special. Our image is very important to us as it is to any group. But we are a special group, and because of that, we are attacked in every angle possible, okay? We understand the system that we're in and some of the tactics they use. And one of them is, a big part of it at least, attacking our image, okay? And one aspect of that is how black men, we're going to get into black men and black women, but we're going to start with black men, how black men are portrayed, okay? Right now, there's a big push to effeminize black men. There's always been that. We know that. But a part of that is even just like subtly in the way they dress. A lot of the social media influencers, the rappers, we got the nails painting, they wearing purses, they wearing skirts, we got the hoochie daddy shorts. It's egregious, okay, to say the least. So how do you think, first of all, how do y'all feel about it? We'll get into that first because y'all are black men. How do y'all feel about the imagery that is being pushed for, especially young black men today?
I believe that the main problem that we're facing right now in our community in terms of trying to take the black man and turn him into a black woman and trying to take the black woman and turn her into a black man, the main problem that we have with that situation is they know that's how you mess up the black family. If you go after the black man individually or the black woman individually, you're taking down the black family collectively. So this is something that we have to stop. And one of the main things they try to use is entertainment. So entertainment in terms of hip hop music, R&B music, pink fingernails, lavender fingernails, purple fingernails. Anytime you see this, you can understand that it's not just about the individual that is being affected by it. It's about all of us. So we have to be very, very careful, and we have to watch this type of stuff because that type of energy is the type of energy that brings down the black family as a whole. So I believe that we have to, basically stay true to our tradition. And anytime we remove ourselves from our traditions and we start going into other things, that's the type of the nonsense that ends up folding us up. So yeah, I've been having my eye on it as well as all of us have. And we just got to maintain, nothing beats that type of, agenda more than being pro-black family.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's true. First off, shout out to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing because she predicted this years ago. And a lot of times when she predicted this, people were like, nah, men aren't going to be wearing skirts. Men aren't going to, that's never going to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But she saw this all the way back in the day when she was speaking about it, when she was writing books about it. She predicted this and people didn't believe her then. The image is very important because going back to not the Civil War, going back to the Jim Crow era when they were essentially calling us animals and everything like that, they used that to justify harming us. And what black society did during the Civil Rights Movement, we put our image out in a positive, respectful, and mature, and almost to a degree divine image. So what they decided to do is now they're using their media and they can't say, okay, you guys are animals like that. They're eventually going to go back to it. That's their plan, is to go back to that by degendering. All right. That's part of their plan, is to degender, because when you degender a human being to a degree, you're stripping that human of humanity. When you take a man's masculinity away, to a degree, you're taking his humanity away. When you take a woman's femininity away or womanhood away, to a degree, you're dehumanizing. You're essentially saying that, like, we don't recognize a male horse and a female horse as really two different things like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're different in some way, but it's a horse. And they do this specifically. We understand it's an agenda because they do this specifically with black people, specifically foundational black Americans. And they change it up and they say things like, okay, this is progressive. Before they were all like, black people are bad and this is their image. These are the bad people's image. So now what they're doing after the fact that we're like, we need more positive images, they're like, okay, we'll give you positive images. And then we'll have this guy in a wedding dress and we'll have the girl in combat boots and shit like that. We'll do that. And that's progressive. You know, and then when you say something like, no, that's not it. Oh, well, that's toxic masculinity, or you're being a hotep and stuff like that. You should let people live the way they want to live. And they use that to gaslight any defense or counter for people who understand what their agenda really is.
That is a huge way of how they attack black men, black people in general, because we about to get into black women as well, because they do the same thing, or similar. But, you know, not having a masculine figure as the image for our men, you know, it weakens not only the men, but it weakens us. It looks us look weaker as a people in general, you know. So that's a big tactic. You know, I absolutely agree. But they also do the same thing they do similar things with women. It's more of a masculine thing. Like you said, they have the tomboys. They'll push the, more masculine behaviors. But then there's also the aspect of over-sexualizing, okay? We got the sexy reds. We got the Sukis with the good coochies. And that brings a totally different image than what we are and what we want to be, you know, what we strive to be, you know, especially our ancestors and our elders. It's completely different from our culture, you know. And so although we do have those anomalies, or, you know, we got the minority of our group that is degenerate or over-sexualized, that is not the representation for all of us, especially as black women, you know. But that is the push that they choose to they put at the forefront of our image for black women, because they want us to be seen, again, they want to dehumanize us, you know. They want us to be seen as just a horse, you know. Well, why do they need to be protected if they're loose? They want this is the energy that they want. They don't want to be protected. They don't want to be feminine. They don't want to be a wife. They don't want to teach their children. You know, this is not at the forefront. This is not at the top of their priority list, you know, although it should be, and it really is, you know, for the most of us.
I know a lot of women who are grievously offended by that, who take that, especially that being postered as the image or the representation of them as black women, to high degrees of offense. Okay, I know that. And then there are some who, unfortunately, they go out of their way and be like, oh, why is this that big of a deal? You guys are looking too deep into it. Anytime a black woman says, okay, this is wrong, you shouldn't be out here doing this. There's videos of some, and of course they're not the representation, you know, hood rats on tables in restaurants. And then when black women be all like, you shouldn't be acting like that, they get called a pick-me.
Right.
Oh, why you a pick-me? Why you you just want a man, and it's stuff like this. So it's a lot of the people who do stuff like that. And then there are black women who push against it, but the dominant society elevates the degenerate class. They elevate the Suki Hanas.
Exactly.
They give them these big platforms and these big channels. You know, when the pick-me, quote unquote, women who push against it, they have a hard time getting their message out. Their message is shadow banned. Their message is taken down in some cases.
Yep. I can attest to that.
Yes. So anytime you see a black woman standing on what the culture should be and how they should be represented, you see the powers that be silence her and elevate the woman who all like, it don't matter, shake your ass, and you know what I'm saying? So you see that. A lot of women take offense to that, and then some women just like, I don't want to deal with it. I feel like the women I know who are becoming more comfortable speaking out against it, that's a good thing. And we need more of that, because when the thing is that they're trying to say the majority is this way, and that's not the truth.
Right.
And if the majority says, no, we're not this way, then they really the narrative is countered.
Brother, I got to second that. One of the things I always tell people is that the most misrepresented person in America is the black woman, where they take black women and they pretty much take all of what I call certified sisters. They take our certified sisters and they put them to the back line, and then they bring in all of these hood rats, all of these undesirables. You know, tell me who is the dominant society version of Sukihana? There ain't one. Who's the dominant society version of Sexy Red? There ain't one. And if there was one, the dominant society would shut that down ASAP. But when you start talking about the Lizzos of the world, or you start talking about the Megan Thee Stallions of the world, they're going to get put on the forefront in terms of Saturday Night Live. They're going to get the BET Awards. They're going to get the Grammy Awards. Yeah. The same behavior that the dominant society claims that they cannot stand in real life, okay? The ones they call welfare queen, that's the same one that you give that Grammy to, though, right? So you see the hustle and the agenda that they try to put forth on us, and it's on all of us to, you know, go ahead and fight that agenda. And what I've been blessed with is to be around real certified black women. I have. So I know what it look like and I know what it don't look like. Okay. So when you start talking about our certified sisters, it's on our women to really reject those type of females that get put on the forefront. And it's also on our men to reject all of the, you know, nonsense that they throw at us as well. So it's a collective effort. And I would, you know, ask everybody out there, name me one person from any other community that gets put up, you know, on a high level that talks down or gives bad images of their community, you know, and then look at our community and how that occurs, and then go ahead and dismiss those people. Those people should not be role models. Those people should not be widespread. And we have to really just start with rejecting things. Everyone talks about boycotting, right? Well, we can really start with not just boycotting stores. We can boycott these images of these people that they put in front of us to pollute the brain. Because I always tell people, the young women are watching. The young women are watching. So every time they put Sukihana or, you know, Cardi B, and half these women aren't even foundational black Americans.
Really?
Yeah, most
Read that part.
Who's the foundational black American woman in hip hop? There's like 2 of them, and then there's another 30 that are non-FBA. You know, so we see the agenda, you know, in terms of the community. We see the agenda in terms of, you know, in terms of the gender, but it's on us to go ahead and boycott it. And as I always say, reject it. I'd ask you, sister, how's it changed you and the people you've seen around you?
Definitely. Well, one, let me say, as far as hip hop goes, I've never really listened to, you know, hip hop is male dominated. You know? So I've never really listened to that many female artists, but now there's literally like, I don't even think I could think of literally even one. The ones that I am thinking of, maybe like a Tierra Whack or like a, it's another sister I'm thinking about, but that's not like sexuality is not at the forefront of their brand.
Right.
They're like it's literally like none. You know, like that's at a platform that has the same platform as a Cardi B or a Meg Thee Stallion. Like they're nowhere near that. You know, that level. You know what I'm saying? And that is intentional. So a lot of times you got to go back and look at. I got to listen to like Queen Latifah. You and ITY. I got to listen to some MC like if I do want to get a little taste of some Left Eye. If I do want to get a little taste of female hip hop, to be honest, because right now you're gonna get the same thing. It's gonna be coochie popping. It's gonna be using niggas, tricking niggas. All time, you know, that's like the main gist of all of their songs, all of their content. You know, so there's really nothing but programming within it. You know, but I have seen the influence affect, especially younger girls. You know, you got the Ice Spice one in particular. Who's an industry plant, if you know, you know. But she has had a huge impact on young girls. You know, I have nieces and nephews as well, but my niece is one of my oldest nieces. She listens to her music all the time, you know, and then I start to see her pick up the mannerisms and, you know, so children are very easily influenced, you know? And so when they see these images and they're propped up and they're getting, she's getting all this attention from the men, she's getting all these stamps from the women as well. Then they think that that's the goal to get there, you know? So now it makes my job harder, on my sister's job, the mothers in my family jobs harder to push them to be righteous, you know, because now it doesn't look cool. Now it looks like you're the lame girl, you're coy, you're a prude, you know. That doesn't look like the way to go, especially when you get to that age. My oldest niece is like 11. So she's getting towards the age of boys, you know, understanding, you know, relationships and stuff like that. She goes to a public school. Some of the little girls in there faster, you know. Some of them LGBTQ, you know, that's another thing they push as well. These female influencers, they pushing the lesbianism hard, all right? I mean, even if it's not like straight up lesbianism, it's like something surrounded, like it's still in the realm of it. They kissing girls, you know, they rubbing on each other. They, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, even if they're not, they could have husbands, you know. Cardi B is married, but look at the music video with her and Megan Thee Stallion. You would think that they scissoring in one of their last videos. You know, it's like Like, what? This is not normal behavior. You know, you don't kiss your friends. I don't kiss my girlfriends. That's weird. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
But this is something that's being normalized. You know, they're trying to normalize, and so that affects the minds heavily of our children because now they're looking like, oh, well, this is okay. This is normal. This is so I can date a boy. I can date a girl. I could, you know, I could dress like this and still get all the men I want, still get all the attention I want. Oh, this is okay. And they're not realizing the long-term effects that shout out to Kevin Samuels, you're going to end up buying a dog and dying alone. Okay? Or you're going to end up with a simp. Or you're going to end up with a Negro who's not in a position that you want him to be in, you know, because you're not in a position that a man that you want to be in, you're not it. You know, you're not a wife. You know, you've been programmed to be a whore. But let me say, some of the women I know now that's around my age, they're not even prioritizing. A lot of them aren't prioritizing family. If they do have children, they're not prioritizing teaching their children because they're caught up in the club culture. They're caught up in the whore culture. They're caught up in the, you know, things that don't really, I'm not going to say they don't matter, but aren't a part of what we need for the culture to progress us, especially for our children, you know? So that's a heavy part of the importance of why our image has to be corrected. You know, it has to be, we need a divine feminine image, you know, just as well as we need a divine masculine, you know. And then that kind of pours into dating, you know, because now we got, again, like I said, women I know, they're not prioritized. You got women out here who think like men, not to say that men shouldn't have discipline. But they're like, you know, I could just F him and leave, you know, I can have him get some money and be out. Or we could just, we can have an exchange. I give him sex, he give me money, we good, you know, and they don't even realize that basically that's prostitution, you know. But have you seen that? Have y'all seen that as far as, aren't you married?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you, how long you been married?
Oh, 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
So you ain't been out the game that long.
No, fresh out the game.
You know a little something. Okay.
Fresh out.
You ain't been out the game that long. How has y'all experience been as far as dating? Have y'all seen that seep into your dating lives?
Well, I tell people all the time, the best thing is for a lot of people to get the hell out the game. You know what I mean? And this is what you're seeing. A lot of people now say, man, I'm glad I'm out. This game is egregious. It ain't what it was when our parents grew up, or our brothers, or our cousins, or our sisters. So it's been hell for a lot of people. And you know, a lot of folks who either don't prioritize it, or the people who do prioritize it, they get their stuff and then they leave. And it's just talking about, you know, the you know, degradation of the dating culture. And once again, if you look at the dominant society, you don't see this. You know what I mean? You got some of it going on, but it's not just about attacking a gender here, attacking another gender. And then as we speak of the domino effect, look what we speak about gender, and look how many different areas that goes into. That goes in everywhere from little girls to little boys, marriage, dating, boyfriend, girlfriend. It's all across the spectrum. As you say, the dominant society is very intelligent when it comes to anti-black racism.
Yes.
You know, they may not know what 2 + 2 is. They may think 2 + 2 is 37, okay? But they will come up with an elaborate plot to bring down foundational Black Americans. So it's all on us in the dating world to go ahead and end all of that. So yeah, I've seen it all. And you know, like a lot of people have been saying, it's a agenda that's been put upon us, and it's also going downhill fast. So those of us who stick to principles and tradition typically will be the ones who make it out good or make it out well. But those of us who don't, good luck. No, I'm just playing. But
for real though, like let's keep it real.
But it's a game, brother. How you feel about it?
Okay. I just want to second the point you said. As far as the dominant society, first off, there's all this infighting. I wanted to say that right now. All this infighting, all this disagreement. The only thing that they agree is that they hate Black people.
Yep.
That's the only thing. Ukraine,
get on code
Russia,
about
they
that.
sitting up there blowing each other up. They still racist to Black people. So that's the thing that they all agree on. So that's the thing that they sit down and discuss how to break stuff up. And now I'm glad that you brought that point up, because it has been especially difficult for me because of what I do and what I talk about, and my level of, I would say, even though I don't like using this word, like level of consciousness or awareness, it kind of is off-putting to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Who's not really on this type of frequency. And now you have like different podcasts and stuff out that, once again, the dominant society really does promote, like the Fresh and Fits and stuff like that. The millions of subscribers, they're in there. All women are whores and all that stuff, and you should never get married under any circumstances. Then exactly. Then you got Cynthia G. Be like, Black men are terrible, date white men. So and the dominant society gives them millions of subscribers, millions of views, millions of this. They mess all of our channels up. We get videos taken down, copyright strikes for nothing.
Right.
You know, people don't see the channels, don't get the notifications. We can't progress without putting in 10 toes work. We put in the work every single time. We can't be lazy at all. Every time we go live or record, it's showtime, and it's got to be 100% every time. They just get to come on and just essentially do nothing, and they get that stuff because the dominant society wants people to think that and everything. So now you have in the dating world, you know what I'm saying? They want the men to be not leaders, more so advisors. Like a man can't tell me what to do. That's controlling. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or if a woman doesn't make you a sandwich at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, she's not loyal and she's probably cheating on you. So it's like, it's a lot of that stuff going on. Who should pay half for this? If the woman's like, if I pay half of anything, then I'm not going to be in no relationship. I shouldn't have to pay for nothing. A man's like, she should pay for everything. If she loves you, she should worship you like a god. Like it's a whole bunch of gender dividing that the dominant society promotes. Like, ooh, give that views, give that channel up, get that channel up. And we have stuff like this where we have mature people who sit down and we discuss the issues, and stuff gets shadow banned. They don't get our notifications and stuff like that. So this is all a big plot. But people need to understand that and see that, you know, because what you see, it might be entertaining, but it does play an effect on you. You do think about the points that are made after that. It does linger in your mind, especially into the dating game. So when you're on a date and everything like that, you sitting at the table, the check come, you're like, who should pay for this shit?
Yeah, that's real.
So it's like that.
Nah, that's real. And I'm glad you brought up, you know, the Cynthia G's and the Fresh and Frauds and Flimsies, frauds and flimsies, because those it's crazy. You know, a lot of times I don't like to bring stuff outside of the internet. You know, I'd like to leave the internet where it's at, but the internet is so accessible. It's not the same as it was when we had dial-up. People had to get on a computer. People didn't have internet right on their phone. Like, people wake up in the morning and the first thing they see is, this nigga didn't pay for my, he used a credit card to pay for my food. He broke. He ain't got no money. Like, I just seen a woman literally talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And so that programming, even if you are, and I'm somebody that's conscious of this, I love black men. You know what I'm saying? I love black people. I know I'm going to marry a black man. FBA. Okay. And I realize, and I know the lies and misinformation that spreads, but even me hearing that sometimes, I slip up. I'll be like, yeah, you know, women do be tripping. I be thinking like, you know what, most of the women in my life don't be doing that. You know, most of the black men in my life, they really don't be doing that though. You know, most of the black men I've encountered don't do things like that, you know, but on the internet it's so emphasized, you know, you don't realize that all of this doesn't really reflect reality. It reflects a small portion of it, you know, but so many of us are being programmed to think like, oh no, you need to get a passport and leave the country. You know, you need to go get you a white man, a white zaddy, because he's going to do you better, you know. And that is seriously affecting the way a lot of us view, like you said, marriage. A lot of us view dating. A lot of us view each other, you know, how we interact with each other. Shit gets weird, you know, the check comes like you said, and we don't know who's going to pay for it, because how does she think, you know? Maybe she's a feminist, and she's offended by you paying the bill. Sir, I got it. What do you mean? You didn't even ask, you know? So that really, it turns the tables on what we're supposed to be doing as black people. Also a part of that, you know, although social media, internet is a big part of that as well. Our diets, the way we eat, the way we in tune with God, you know, things of that nature. All of that affects how we interact with each other, how we see each other, how we want to be with each other as well. And today, you know, niggas is eating pizza and the Philly cheesesteaks pretty much every day. Yeah. You know, niggas is not eating correctly, you know, and then we wonder why you got men up here talking about, well, she stinks. She can't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even want to go down on her because baby, you're not eating correctly. You know, same thing with some of the men out here. I done heard some stories. Some of the men out here ain't going too right either. You know, so that alone, you know, can definitely keep us away from each other as well. And it's like, you know, stank breath can be fixed, baby.
It can.
You know, a little, you know, certain aspects, physical traits about yourself, it can be fixed. You know, it shouldn't be even internal. Brothers out here having heart attacks. You know, things like that. You talking about 25, 27-year-olds having heart attacks. Like, it's women out here obese. You know, we just talked about the Lizzos. Yep. And that part of us is being pushed as well within the media. You know, and not just only media, it's being pushed within our neighborhoods. We don't got Whole Foods and salad restaurants, you know, things like that within predominantly black neighborhoods. You know, that's not something that's pushed. Have y'all seen the effects of those as well, as far as, you know, your interactions with black people and not even just women?
Oh man, I can speak on that. The average, you know, person that they put on television is living an unhealthy lifestyle. We all know health is wealth. And that's why I'm loving everybody saying that nowadays. That's catching on. We got to take terms and we got to continue to push them forward, okay? We got to get rid of old terms and put in new ones. But, you know, when they feed us the fast food, they feed us the local corner store, we got to remember who's selling us this stuff. You know, it's either the dominant society and these multi-billion-dollar corporations, or it's these local, what we call muck stores. And they're owned by people who are non-FBA, non-black. They come over here, they get grants, and they sell us poison in our neighborhoods, from liquor all the way to the candy bar. So we all understand that. So we got to focus on our health in terms of how we eat. But it's a mentality, though. It's a mentality. You know what I'm saying? When you know better, you do better. So we got to focus more so on the way we eat, the way we think, exercising. Because if you don't take care of yourself physically, you ain't gonna be here to take care of nothing. All right. So we have to understand that in order to be pro-black, you got to be pro-self if you're black. Okay. And if you're pro-self, then you got to take care of yourself.
Right.
All right. So this is something that we've learned, because we've all seen the diabetes, the heart attacks. The number one killer of black men and women, I'm not mistaken, is heart disease. And a lot of that goes back to the food that we eat. So there's so many people out there right now, you can look, you can learn, that are out there teaching us how to eat right, exercise well, mentally, physically, spiritually, mind, body, and soul, the whole pantheon. So we got to learn from that type of stuff and just work on yourself. Be the best you. And that starts with taking care of your inside. If you take care of your inside, you take care of your outside, you take care of your top, you take care of your bottom, vice versa. So that's what we got to really focus on. And I know in Chicago, brother, because I'm from Ohio. And they live off fast food, every corner store, family.
Yeah, they everywhere.
Yeah. That's actually going into our culture as far as the health and all that stuff. I mean, as far as foundational Black Americans are concerned, I'm pretty sure we can all recall a grandma or auntie or something like that. You get sick, you ain't taking no medicine, no medication. She pulling out some oils in the cabinet and she crushing up some berries, and you taking some garlic or something like that. And you would feel so much better immediately, such much faster, no side effects and everything like that. Nowadays, all of the medication got more side effects than it was supposed to heal you. So, you know, that's a part of our culture that they've been trying to strip away from, the whole home cooked meal shit. You don't even really see that. The whole, even sitting down at the table as a family and eating food, you don't even see that. People take their food to their room. You know what I'm saying? And eat in their room. I do that sometimes. You know, that happens. It happens. And you don't expect Thanksgiving dinner every night, but I'm saying that's a part of our culture that we really do have to get back to.
That's true.
I remember I was like 16 years old, and I was talking to my dad. I was like, I don't know why I feel so sleepy all the time. I'm just, I'm really tired a lot. And he was like, that's because you don't drink enough water. And I said, no, I drink water. He's like, no, you drink water when you're thirsty. You need to drink water all throughout the day. Even when you're not thirsty, you still need to drink water. And when I started drinking more water, even when I wasn't thirsty, it started to change my energy level. It started to change my mood. Even my skin became more clear. I started to be able to think faster, remember things easier. And that's just by drinking more water. We have a society now where they promoting drinking lean and multicolor Mountain Dew and shit like that. You don't know what is in these drinks. We don't even have enough good water to drink, you know, and let alone all the processed foods, all the candy and all that stuff, which in moderation is not going to kill you. But the thing is that the health needs to be the priority. Now, when people are eating healthy, people call that a diet, eating healthy. When that needs to be the standard. And then you know, take a break, get some cake or whatever the case is. But now it's junk food and then taking a break to eat some healthy, and it needs to be the other way around completely.
I want to circle back to that right quick, because you made me think of two things. One, Shahrazad Ali. You actually made me think of this too. But Shahrazad Ali said the reason she even made Black Woman's Guide to Understand a Black Man and Black Man's Guide to Understand a Black Woman was that she first started with the diet. You know, she went around and was trying to tell Black women. She created How Not to Eat Pork. I think that's what the book is called. And she was like, so many Black women gave her backlash on like that. Like, you're not about to tell me how to cook. I cook for my family. I cook for my man. You're not about to tell me what I can and cannot cook. There was like this strong push against her over something so simple of telling you to eat better, you know? And that's what trickled down into her examining the behaviors of Black women, you know? So even within that, it shows if you're rebellious against something as simple as eating well, especially if a man that's in the sports, you have children, if you can't take the time out your day to really put love, our grandmothers, they used to put you felt the energy in the food.
Man.
Like it made you feel, it could have been some bullshit, to be honest. But the fact that she made it with love, the fact that she made it with her, with wanting to nourish you, it still made you feel better even within that, But a lot of these women are not even putting that into the home. We're not even, not a lot of that's I want to focus on women on that, because that most of the time women are going to be cooking. I was our mothers and grandmothers that cooked. But now today you got women just microwaving stuff in the oven and just giving it to the kids. You got stuff, and then we get the side effects of children having behavior issues, especially if there's not a father in the home, emotionally uncontrollable at that, and these are all side effects from something simple of just our diet. Another thing you made me think of when you said that, drugs. Yeah. You mentioned drugs. Yeah. That's a big thing within the culture as well. That's actually a big part of why we eat the way we do as well, because so many people, shout out to Wesley Muhammad, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. He made literally like a whole 1,000-page book about basically the reasons why we shouldn't be smoking weed. Okay. And the chemicals that's in weed. Okay. It's not the same from the 70s. It's not the same from what our parents and grandparents used to be hitting. Okay, we wouldn't even get high off that if we had it right now, because it's not really weed. It's all types of chemicals that's getting you high, really, and then the tobacco on top of that. So not only do you have that, you got people drinking lean. You got people snorting cocaine. You got people popping pills. A lot of the young brothers is popping pills. A lot of the young sisters are too, and that affects our interactions with each other, because now we're dealing really with a mental health issue. Yep. And now we're trying to put a Band-Aid on it by drinking and smoking and going out and things of that nature. We're hiding it, and then when it's time for us to deal with self, we get depression, we get suicide. I think the black male suicide rate is like at the highest it's been ever. To be honest, I think it is right now, if I'm not mistaken. But now we getting things like that. Even we got the women who's over-sexualizing themselves, who don't care about the image, who don't care about their children. Now we got children that's out here that's been neglected and abused, because we are not focused on our health. We're not prioritizing our not only our physical health, but our mental health, which is really hand in hand. They go hand in hand. What you eat, what you put in yourself reflects how you feel about yourself. If you don't care enough about yourself to drink water all day, or to drink, not to come for you. Drink water.
I was 16. I'm saying.
You was 16. I'm okay. But to drink water, to eat vegetables, to to be conscious in what you put inside your temple. Yep. We get the results we have, which is obesity and heart attacks and things of that nature. Especially within our children. And that language now is kind of like with social media. It's a kind of cool to be depressed. I've called my niece one time and said, "Oh, I'm depressed." I'm like, "Girl, don't say that. Your words are powerful. Don't, I know you don't mean it. You're not really depressed, but don't say that. That's not," but it becomes normalized, because now not only are you probably maybe not depressed, but you're feeling within that realm. You're sad. You're saddened because of whatever traumas and things you've been through. But now you're really stamping it. You're validating it by saying it. And then you're going back and making it even more prevalent, because now you're eating things that are just going to make you feel sluggish, make you not want to do anything, and so that bleeds over into every aspect, just that diet, just that, having the mindset of wanting to keep a healthy body. These are our temples, even our language, people you don't hear temple, that used to be like the main thing. Your body's a temple. That used to be like a slogan everybody used. That was just like, shit, it's just a damn thing that you using until you die. It's pretty much just how we're looking at it. But also the spiritual part of it. That's it's a very important reason why our people are having so many issues today. Of course, we got system white supremacy, of course. And this is actually a part of system white supremacy, because white supremacy is not just a physical thing. It's not just media and food, and it's a spiritual warfare as well. They don't want us to be connected to God. They don't want us to know that we are gods, okay? And so you see that as well. That's also part of the reason why people don't prioritize their health and our image, because we don't know how powerful we are. And that's because we're not connected to the highest power, know? There's a lot of young brothers, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of young brothers and sisters that's especially on the internet now, TikTok, that have like spiritual pages, and they talk about, they got 10 full bonnets on, or 10 full kufis. And even if they don't, they're just talking righteously, and they're connected, they're speaking spirituality, talking about herbs and ways of healing and things of that nature. But there's a big portion, especially of the youngins, that are really, they don't even know how to pray. They don't know how to meditate. They don't understand what talking to God is, what reflection is, what, what having that internal peace, knowing that there's somebody, that there's a higher power to answer to, and that creates all sorts of problems. Because now we're talking about these kids ain't even got no morals now. They don't even understand how important it is, like, to not want to kill each other, to not want to speak down on each other, to not want to, things of that nature. So have y'all seen that, a lack of spirituality, like, within our people? How have you seen those effects play out?
This goes back to restoring the culture back to what it was, because we did not always used to be like this. This is a recent problem, okay? A problem that's been engineered and set up to be this way. But our people have never, even during slavery, our people were never disconnected with God. That's actually what got us through a lot of that. Is God and family and everything. And then together we was like, okay, we got that. Everything else, we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But that's the foundation, and that's what led us out of slavery, because we fought ourselves out of slavery. We are the ones who freed ourselves, really. That's what led us out of that. Jim Crow, we survived all of that stuff because of that. Yeah. Now, with the disconnection when it comes to God and when it comes to any, like, essentially life itself. And that goes back to what I was saying about dehumanization. You have people walking around like nothing matters. Yeah. People walking around, I live, I die. And when you have that mentality, it will cause you to do more reckless things, not just to yourself, to other people as well too. Because like, what matters at this point? My life doesn't matter. My health doesn't matter. So if my life and my health don't matter, I know like hell, his life and his health ain't gonna matter. You know what I'm saying? There's no morality. There's no consciousness. The consciousness has been decreased and suppressed to the point where people are walking around essentially living zombies. They're walking around with no purpose in life. When you have that stuff, you have a sense of purpose in life. That's what all of our ancestors and all of our master teachers have used to guide them, to help them figure out their purpose. I believe everybody has one. Most people don't figure it out until it's too late. But they did. And they were able to capitalize off of what their divine purpose was, why they were sent here, why they were here on this planet. And they were able to live that out. But now you have people who are like, your life doesn't matter. You have no purpose. You just live every day surviving for the next day, instead of trying to strive for your purpose, which has never been our culture. And it's been engineered by the dominant society to be that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
First off, I got to take my glass off of this one.
Break it down. Yeah, so if ever be broken.
All right. First off, I got to piggyback what you said, brother. You make a point. We are naturally spiritual people. Like we're just naturally spiritual people. I mean, look at the words we use, right? When we say frequency, we mean something different. White folks mean like frequency, like the television, right?
Radio.
Yeah, radio. We say vibe. They literally mean like vibration. You know what I mean? They don't really get it. Their terminology and their usage and definitions of these words are completely opposite from ours. We are naturally spiritual people by being the original people, the creators, the originators. All of that comes along with it. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Dr. Kabahai Walter Kambane, he says that spirituality is unseen science and science is seen spirituality, right? So if you put it all together, it all works. And I love the way you phrase the question, because it all ties into our previous questions on our previous statements about food, about misgendering people. All of these things are to distort our vision and our viewpoint on spirituality. We used to be able to see it more clear. And I'm not just talking about going to church, okay? I'm not just talking about going to church every Sunday in Bible study, because spirituality is beyond that. A lot of people are more spiritual than they are religious.
That's true.
Black people are, right? So they use religion against us, but they can never really use our spirituality. Spirituality is to work for us, and religion has been meant to work against us. But they've used all of these other mechanisms and devices so they could actually distort our view. So we have a distorted viewpoint of not only who we are, but on where we're going. Like you were saying, Brother Afro, where now people think, well, my life don't mean nothing. His life, her life, their life, nobody means nothing, because you don't have that spiritual connection where you actually dig into the divine. I will say that we are on a path now where brothers and sisters are trying to tap back into that. And that's where all of us and everybody listening, everybody watching, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Big time. All the way. So all of us together collectively as one, I think we can move it back and, take that distorted vision and clear it out to where we really see things for truly what they are. And that is us not only being spiritual, but like they say, mind, body, and soul, mentally, physically, spiritually. 2 out of 3 ain't going to work. We're going to have all 3. And if we get all 3, man, we'll get it done.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a fact,
Right.
And I want to say too, is specifically when it comes to black men in particular. You know, y'all are the heads, y'all the leaders, y'all are the protectors. Okay. When the saying goes, children are led by the woman is led by man is led by God. Okay. So if the man is not led by God, who is he being led by? You know, what is his guidance? Where's the moral compass? You know, how do we know you can be leading us straight to hell? Okay, still leading us. All right, but if you're not committed to or submitting to a higher power, if you don't know that there's a righteousness, you know, ahead of you that you always need to look forward to and look to have motivation for, to do the right thing and to protect your family. We get the brothers that are, you know, that don't even want to be in that position of leadership, that don't understand the responsibilities that come with it, don't know how to do it, don't want to teach other brothers to do it, you know, and so that just it shambles, you know, it's a domino effect to everything else in our community because y'all are first. And I actually asked a good brother of ours, Brother Reza, what his thoughts were. He's actually going to repeat the question because I set it up a little differently. But I want y'all to hear his thoughts on black men's commitment to a higher power and how that affects our community. Okay, so let's give it a listen.
Your question, and I definitely wanted to answer this with a video response. I simply got too caught up in everything, and I'm actually out right now. But I wanted to answer this for all of those who are listening. The question that I was sent was, how does the lack of commitment to a higher power affect the leadership and overall impact black men have on our families and community? You give power to what you submit to, and you also receive power to what you submit to. One major problem is that when we refuse to submit to a higher power, whatever we wish to call it, the Most High, Allah, God, Jah, whatever it is, we have no choice but to submit to something lesser than. So we tend to submit to an ego. We tend to submit to some other desire, whatever it is that we feel will suffice. But those who submit to a higher power seem to have an endless supply of mental, spiritual, emotional, and even sometimes physical stamina. When we die, then our motive dies with us, the movement dies with us. But if we submit to a higher power, the movement will never die. So we have to tap into that unlimited source of energy, unlimited source of inspiration, direction, and movement in order for us to be truly successful as men. That is how this goes. All of our leadership who did that were more successful than those who submitted to ego, who submitted to, oh, it's just me, y'all follow me. So as black men in our community, we have to make sure that, again, whether if we choose to go into a building, a spiritual building, a mosque, a church, or what have you, that's one thing. But choosing to submit to that higher power is something that should be non-negotiable if we want to be as successful as possible. It's easy to submit to an ego, but it's hard to submit to God. Our lack of discipline is our problem, and our lack of discipline will be our downfall.
Ooh.
That man.
Fire.
You think he wrote it down, but I bet you it came straight off the dome.
It was off the top, for sure. It had to be. What's your reaction to that?
Okay, well, I'm going to say this. I fully agree, okay? And that's the thing about essentially purpose is what I was saying before. I feel like what he said had a lot to do with the fact that if you don't have any higher power to submit to, then you're just kind of like, life is life. You know, everything is about me and my happiness. Nobody else's matters, or whatever the case is. Or you can go through hardship, because we will all go through hardship, but you will go through hardship and you'll get knocked down and you won't be able to get back up. You know, one of the things that keep people going is the fact that a lot of people believe that God is not going to give you anything more than what you can handle. If you don't have that foundation to believe that, okay, this is my purpose, like for instance, what I do, times get tough. Times do get tough. But I believe that this is my God-given purpose for this world. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm here to do. So I'm like, okay, God wouldn't give me this purpose if I couldn't do this. So I can do this. I'm going to have to get over this hump somehow. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have that foundation, another version of me might have quit years ago. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's saying, the stamina, the spiritual stamina when it comes to withstanding hardship. A lot of people base that off of, you know, their divine purpose or belief in higher power, belief in God or something like that.
Yeah.
And believing that God is eventually going to give me the ability to go through. Now he's going to fix everything, but he's going to give me the ability to climb over this hump or through this hurdle or through this obstacle to some degree like that. So I really resonate when he said the stamina of it all.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad he brought that point up too, especially in the discipline point, which I'll get back to. But what about you, Al?
Ooh, first off, salute to our good brother for that one.
Yeah.
Purifier, salute to everybody, Nation to Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, everybody, all of the above. Much love and respect.
Great imagery for Black men, Nation.
Woo, I tell you.
Definitely.
That's true.
You can start right there, everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I resonate with what he was saying as well as what you said, Brother Afro, because what we often, we got to understand is that we were already winners when we got here. Yeah. All right. The hard part about being a foundational Black American or being Black in general is really already over. Because we ain't going back in no damn chains, all right?
That's for sure.
That ain't happening, right? So right now, it's all about kicking up dust and, getting our reciprocity and, coming back forward. But we are walking miracles. We're not supposed to be here. It's against all odds. They say the rose that grew from concrete. I say we the whole damn rose garden that grew from concrete.
Okay.
Our whole living existence is about winning. Because if we were people who took L's, there would be none of us, all right? We'd have been gone forever. So even people who had hardships in the past that didn't make it to now, they gave us the football so we can punch in that last minute touchdown. So everybody serves a purpose. And it's about tapping into that purpose and understanding that we are walking miracles. We have defeated all odds and we're only getting better and stronger all the time. I always say we don't walk with our head down. We walk with our head to the sky. We center everything in our excellence. And that excellence comes from having that divine spirit that is in all of us. And it also connects all of us as well. So it's not just the spirit, that's in you as an individual. It's also about that reflects in your mother, your grandmother, and mine could all sit right here. It could not be us. And they could sit here, have a conversation, and they would all talk like sisters. All right. So it shows you that there's something deeper that we can all tap into. And when you foundational Black American, what you tap into is excellence, but it all starts with that spirit. So I absolutely, positively agree with what our good brother said. And it's all on us to just keep it going.
Yeah. And that's what I'm like. I'm glad he brought up stamina, and discipline, because that is the foundation to any successful group.
Exactly.
It's having the stamina to go longevity. It's a long-term thing. It's not going to be done. It took us 400 years to get here. Might take another 400 to get back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we have to have a spiritual stamina, and we have to have discipline, and especially as Black men, as y'all being the leaders.
Yep.
You have to set the tone. You got to set the example. If you're undisciplined, which it's a lot of brothers that are, younger brothers at that, and that ties back into mental health and things of that nature. But definitely, as far as a spiritual aspect is, if you don't have the consistency to make sure that you're talking to your whatever higher power you believe in, you're talking to a God. You're reminding yourself of who you are. You're reminding yourself of you're not just this physical world. This is more than this. You know what I'm saying? This is, again, it's a spiritual warfare. We get some of the results that we have now, which is some of the brothers who can't even find their purpose. I'm glad that you said that that this is a God-given purpose. There's so many brothers, they won't even stay consistent or be disciplined enough to find their purpose. Yeah. Because they've tried this, they tried that, didn't work out. Well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just smoke a J and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do whatever. When it should be a consistent, like, I have to find out why God put me here. I have to find out what do I need to contribute to this world. This is not just for me, but again for your family, for my children, for my legacy, for our people in general, and most of all for the Most High. It's for a higher power. And so that's a major thing within our community, is not understanding the importance, that we've lost. We need to get back to, that we've lost our spiritual connection to God, and we have to get back to that, especially as women too, because that affects the children.
Can I before we go? Let me piggyback off of that. And I feel like that what RZA was just saying and what we've just been discussing, that essentially is the foundation of everything that we talked about before. The discipline, as far as the food you're eating, that's not motivate. You don't get motivated by eating a salad. You don't get motivated by eating fruits and berries and all that stuff. But that's the discipline in that. When you see, I could eat this broccoli, or I can, sit up there and eat these French fries or whatever, and you decide, you have the discipline. My father told me discipline is essentially the will to do something and the will not to do something. That's essentially what discipline is. Yeah. The ability to control yourself. When you have that, when you have the discipline, you will be eating healthier. You will be drinking more, exercising more. When you have that guidance, that will essentially change your relationship, because now we got a lot of people in relationships like, you know what, I like her. Let's get together. And instead of having, we're both on a mission, we both have the same frequency. So we're going to be together and make something work. You know what I'm saying? And we'll like each other along the way. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why a lot of people split up. Like, yeah, I don't like him no more. I don't like her no more. Yeah, it's about me, so I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you have a mission, now, like our culture has, you know, always been, well, we going through hard times, but we on this mission together to the end. You know what I'm saying? That's that spirituality. That's that grounded discipline that we used to have, that we need to get back to.
No, that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. And especially with dating, you know, even in the church, a lot of black men aren't in the church no more. You know, it's kind of, that's kind of a thing now. A lot of black men are leaving the church or have left the church. And now it's just filled with a lot of single mothers and children, you know? So now you got single mothers making the reverend a fake husband, you know, or Jesus, their husband, and the daddy. And it's like, that's not, they need a physical, you need the men in the church, you know. A big part of my consciousness is for my father. You know, my father's a part of the Nation of Islam. One of the main reasons why I was able to see, like, one of the first times I went viral was the whole Malik Yoba trans thing. One of the reasons why I knew immediately that was wrong, it was egregious, was because of my foundation from the Nation. You know, it was already put in me as a child, you know, that certain things were immoral. Certain things were to go against you, you know, it wasn't in your best interest, and that being one of them, you know, understanding the anti-sexuality to Dr. Nellie Fuller Jr., understanding anti-sexual behavior, you know, is really an agenda to depopulate us, to, again, effeminate, to feminize men, to, you know, cause confusion in general. And so that alone, just having your father, a man in your life that is spiritually grounded, can change so many different aspects within the family, you know, because if you're a Muslim, more than likely, even if you don't marry a Muslim woman, your woman is probably going to either become a Muslim at some point, or she's going to follow along. In order to be with you, she's going to have to follow along at least the moral compass of Islam. You know, you're going to have to be in that realm. You know, you're not going to be out here eating pork and your husband's a Muslim. You know, he's not going to want pork in the house, you know. And more than likely, that's going to go on to your children. He's going to want his children to go to the mosque. He's going to want his children to probably go to a Muslim school and things of that nature. So all of that affects the entire family and the community in general when we don't have our men grounded. You know, it's important. You know, y'all are gods, okay? We gotta know that, okay? So that brings me to religion has always really been a part of our culture. You know, spirituality has always been a part of our culture. But that makes me think about that bleeds into politics as well, because us being religious, let's just be real, that kind of bleeds into conservatism. Yep. You know, a lot of us, you know, because of our spirituality or our natural beliefs within our culture, we tend to lean to be more conservative. But then you also got the other side of that. Okay, well, we're not too conservative because you have things like when you think of conservatives, you think Republican, you know, and a lot of them, especially the white supremacists on that side, even the black-skinned white supremacists, even though they might make some points that we agree with, they also tend to have extremes that we completely don't, you know, because these same people might say, no, no LGBT in schools, no, you know, propaganda like that for
Candace
children.
Owens,
you know, you know, she's all for that type of stuff, but then she'll turn around and act like, you know, well, white supremacy doesn't exist.
Yep.
Okay?
That's true.
That's not really a part of our culture. As a black person in America, you don't have a choice but to recognize this is white supremacy. You know, I mean, even the most ignorant Negro knows, like, if they're really being honest with themselves, a non-black person has privilege over you in any aspect. You can at least think that, seriously, you know, because you don't really have a choice. It's so blatant in our face. We are the minority, quote unquote, in this country, you know. And so you don't really have a choice but to see it in some way, shape, or how. Even if you grew up in a majority black neighborhood, you're still going to see it, you know.
Right. True.
And so I want to know your thoughts on that. How black people, how we ride the line of conservatism, you know, within our family and within like politics as well.
You know, that's a slippery slope. Because like you said, somebody will say something and 9 times out of 10, we might agree with some of their political stances, but their social stances be coming from, you know, left field. You know, I always tell people, anybody's, you know, used to the Black Alpha Network, in between me cussing out white supremacists, I slide in little parts about he made some points now. And we got this thing where somebody will make 3 points and then we'll forget the other, 97 things they said that were anti-black, right? So we got to kind of play the middle a lot of times. Being in politics as a foundational Black American is a very slippery slope, and you have to be very on key and, on point with everything you see, because this game is not meant to serve us politically, but yet we have to use it to empower ourselves, right? So you deal with a lot of people from, the Republicans, the conservatives, the liberals. I mean, even the liberals run around and they say things like, bring in open borders, right? But then they turn around and tell Black people they're going to uplift us, but yet we all know that harms us the most, right? So we get caught between this forked tongue, this back talk, this contradiction between both sides. I think what we have to do is that we got to view it from exactly what you said, conservative opposed to Republican.
Right.
Because when we see it from conservative, now we're looking at the policy instead of the party. And I'm sure we're going to get into this policy party thing that's been affecting us for years, okay? Because, the Democrats is not a religion. It's not a race neither, okay? It's not humanity, okay? It's just a political party, all right? You vote for them, then your ass goes home. But in between, like the gun rights and, who can use bathrooms with kids and all those things, there's a lot of things that the people we vote for do not agree with us, but yet the people we may agree with in terms of that, they may say the most anti-Black things out there. So I think we just got to navigate it and break it down literally to the morsel and find out who's really speaking a complete pro-FBA stance and not just 2 or 3 things that we agree with on Sunday afternoon at 6.
Yeah. Good point. I'm gonna say the word, and I like the way you said that. Okay, let's separate conservatism and Republican. Okay, because a lot of people, we're conservative. A lot of people socially, a lot of foundational Black Americans socially in the House, they have conservative values, but they don't have those same things for the policy. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the conservatives, their thing is pretty much, America is fine. Black people need to stop complaining. White people are suffering. White people face racism. We need to help them. The thing is that when you look at the word and the meaning of the word, meanings of words are very important. Words are very, very important.
Absolutely.
Conservative. What are you trying to conserve? You know what I'm saying? When you look at us as foundational Black Americans and we say, we're conservative, we are trying to conserve a family value system, a system of, a neighborhood raising a child, where a child can go out and you have Mrs. Smith over here, you have Mr. Williams over here, and he's looking out. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to conserve that. We're trying to conserve a in-house marriage value, raising the kids value, kids going to school, becoming successful. That's what we're trying to conserve. It segues and it intersects sometimes with some of the things that the dominant society, white supremacy, says, oh yeah, we're trying to conserve that too. We don't want men going in women's bathrooms and everything. But what they're really trying to conserve is white dominance over Black people. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we separate. We're not trying to say everything needs to stay the same. We have always understood that even though this value system, our community's culture, we want to conserve that, but there is things in society we need to change. A lot of times with politicians, they say things that we agree with as far as the culture of conservatism. And then they'll say things like, well, he shouldn't have ran away from the police. Oh, he wouldn't have got shot. Or they'll say things like that. Oh, racism don't matter. Or why don't you guys pull your pants up? That's what they'll say because what they're trying to conserve is white dominance and white subjugation over Black people.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that's a part of the reason why so many Black people stay on the Democratic plantation. Okay? Because we'll hear like these people, conservatives, who come out and speak, and you're like, they almost got us. It's like, oh yeah, well, take LGBT propaganda out of schools, but also take race out of schools, take racial history out of schools. So now it's like, now we're in this trick bag because we're now with the Democrats, or with the more liberals. Let me say that. The liberals, they're like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter. Well, but also LGBTQ lives matter. Well, also, immigrants matter. So it's a trick bag either way. But it feels more comfortable over here with the liberals because it feels like they're accepting us, or it feels like they still want to empower us or include us. Whereas the conservatives, the white conservatives, who Republican leaning, they still are they're more blatant with their anti-black racism. You know, although there's two sides of white supremacy. You know, both sides are still end goal is anti-black racism. But that does make me think about what's upcoming, which is the elections.
Here we go.
Elections is coming up. Okay, y'all know we got Joe Crime Bill Biden in office right now. We got Kamala Harris as well, the fake ass black woman, cosplaying black woman in office, vice president. Okay. And a lot of black people were tricked a couple years ago to vote for them. You know, they pushed I'm black. She's a first black. She's gonna be the first black president. We gotta get Trump out of office. We gotta get the orange man out. We at least gotta choose the lesser of two evils. So how do you think this next approach isn't Trump running again?
Yeah, he's running right now.
He is. Yeah. He's got a lot of legal stuff going on, so people don't know he hasn't gotten the nomination, but in the polling system, he's beating everybody. He's definitely going to get there if his legal situation don't take him out the race.
Okay, got you. But do you think it's going to be they're going to try to use those same tags? You know, they recycle a lot of the same tags.
Yes.
So even if it's not Trump, do you think they're going to try to play, Joe Biden, he tried to do this. You know, he really ain't done nothing like people or him or Kamala. Kamala really been absent for most of the damn presidency. For real. I don't even know what the fuck she been at.
Hide out.
She just popping back out because the election's coming up.
Yes.
But how do y'all think they're going to move? What's the next play for this upcoming election?
Well, I will say stuff. They allow the Republicans to do damaging things. And they try to put a highlight and a spin on it. Like, for instance, DeSantis, right? Ron DeSantis, the governor in Florida, he's running for president. He's not going to win, but he's running. Okay. And he's doing a whole bunch of things in Florida that's harming black people, as far as taking the black history out of schools, as far as this attack on the word woke or woke culture, which is essentially black people.
Right.
And that stuff segues into the problem with Jacksonville with the shooting that happened. Okay. That stuff leads to a massacre of black people. And what they're going to do is they're going to be like, we're not going to solve it, but look at this problem. We're going to recognize this problem, and it comes from the Republicans. So you don't want someone of that party to be the president, right? We're better than that. So they're allowing Republicans like DeSantis to go around and run amok, essentially, without any countering, not trying to stop him at all, to say, I mean, look, DeSantis, he's kind of like Trump in a way, you know what I'm saying? Look how bad they're doing over there. Imagine if he ran the whole country, you know? Right. So you have to vote for us, because if you let him in, then you have to let them in. It'll be a disaster. We're better than nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of what they're doing is, you know, essentially letting that, like in Chicago, they're blaming a lot of the immigrants that the Democrats are letting come over here, you know, as far as the governor, the mayor, the president, all of them are allowing them to come over here and invade Chicago. But they'll look at the Republican governor, Greg Abbott, sending them over here. We're in this situation because of Greg Abbott. It's not us, it's Greg. He's the Republican. They're so bad, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're flipping everything to be like, man, the Republicans are stopping all of the progression in the world. We got to vote them out.
Brother, you made a good point. I love the way you phrase that, because that's what they always do. They always hit us with the what if, or the imaginary thing that might happen if we don't, the doom and gloom. Yeah, if you don't do this, and this is going to happen to black people. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, like you said, brother, the people who are telling us that are the people doing the harm, right? Democrats, liberals. I definitely think they're going to do the same play over and over again, and I believe the Democrats are going to try that until we just quit voting for them, you know, until that plantation just comes down. And you're right, Kamala's black again. She wasn't black for the last 3.5 years. Now she's black again. You know what I'm saying? She done pulled out the Timberlands and the Converse and
the hot sauce.
Don't forget the collard greens. Collard greens. She done added collard greens too. She got the whole goddamn soul food now.
In her purse.
Yeah, in her at the airport, walking down. Come on, man. So it's sad. This is what we're talking about, food. Okay, they sell us food. They sell us rappers. You know, Cardi B has had more meetings with the Democratic Party than Dr. Claude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this point, they're just insulting us. Yeah. And anybody who votes for the Democrats, I believe, is an active op of foundational black America, okay? The blind voting and all that. I mean, you can only, blindly vote for how long until you're actually held responsible. These people who continuously do it. I mean, you can go back and look at all of our timelines from 2020. We said what was going to happen. We said that they weren't going to do nothing for us. They was going to jump, off the ship, throw us off. Y'all know that meme where it says the Democrats after the election, the person getting thrown out the car, it happened.
Right.
And it happened, before that in, 2016 and 2012 and Obama and Clinton. And you can go all the way back, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're going to, pull the same type of games and con games on this again. It's just really on us in terms of the black grassroots to call it out like we're doing. And if you notice us calling it out right now, it's got them shook.
Oh, for sure.
They're scared, ain't they? They be like, damn, well, the Republicans, well, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's pretty much in, like you said, brother, the more they say DeSantis, we say Joe Biden. They say Trump, we say Joe Biden.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about what might happen. We're talking about what has happened. And if you look at their policies, we've seen it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point too as well, because I'm glad you mentioned the Cardi. I mean, what did you say? Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Yeah. And even us as a grassroots really pushing back against that. A lot of the youth, as far as our generation, people our age, 30 and under, even the younger ones, 18, 19, 20 ones, is just now kind of beginning into the political realm. A lot of us is having a pushback, against this, a lot of us is kind of peeping game, and understanding the trickery that is our parents and our grandparents have kind of fell for these past few years, know? And so that's a beautiful thing to see within itself. But along with that, although you have us, for every one of us is about 10, 30, 40, 50 agents, okay?
Ooh, man.
With huge profiles and platforms.
Come on, they pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, just happen to go viral, all right? And so you had people like back in the day, like MLK, he did his march, he did his speech in Washington. And it was, he spoke to thousands of people. Now, he had to go to Washington to do that. They had to gather to do that. Now you got people that just pick up their phone and just say, hey, y'all, so, something, misinformation, and people are easily, especially if they're fast talking, they can put a little statistics in there, and then they make it seem a little more valid than what it really is. They're not put it in the whole context, So how do you think that aspect of the game is kind of shifting our political awareness as far as who we're going to vote for and what party we're going to lean against? How do you think these agents out here, or these people that pop up out of nowhere with these anti-black talking points, how do you think that's going to affect the game?
Ooh, man.
Well, I'm gonna say there was a video that went viral with Jason Lee. Okay. And Jason Lee, I guess he went to Kamala's hip hop
reacted to that
thing. I saw it was a good reaction.
Thank you.
He went to Kamala's hip hop thing, and people was dragging Kamala justifiably because they were like, okay, first off, you're not FBA. This is not your culture. Okay, so you hosting a party, you're lame as hell. You black not even half the time. So people was roasting Kamala, and he got offended, and he was all like, man, you niggas don't understand. Kamala's doing this, and y'all hate her because she's black. And people started getting on Jason's case. Like, first off, don't insult us because we don't like somebody.
Right.
Roland Martin does that too. Don't insult us because we didn't vote. Don't sit up there and call us stupid. Don't sit up there and say we don't understand how politics work. Don't say you guys are being helped. You guys just don't see how you guys are being helped. We've done so much stuff. We just haven't communicated to you guys how much stuff we've done. You see them getting checks. You're not getting checks, but you're getting so much more on the inside. So just be patient and vote for us again. A lot of black people, the young black people, like, no. We ain't doing that.
Get like gas
okay,
not this time.
You ain't sitting up there. Pedro and Jose sitting up there got checks, my money, our reparations money, and you telling us to vote for you again, but you helping in some way. You fixing a bridge or some shit like that.
Wow.
This is what black people, especially the youth, okay, especially the under 50 age, are done with. We're done with being criticized for our political stances. We're done with being insulted, our intelligence being insulted, saying your people are helping you and your life is gotten worse under Biden than it was under Trump. But Biden is helping black people. Biden is doing all this stuff for black people. But black people collectively have been under a harder time under Biden. Yeah. So most black people are not with that. And they're going to have more Jason Lees out. Jason Lee, who is not known for speaking when it comes to politics.
Really?
At all. So and he just kind of made this like, dude, this not your brand. What are you doing?
Yeah.
We're going to have that. We're going to have Roland Martins. We're going to have a whole bunch of people like, black people are so damn stupid. Why don't y'all vote? We're going to have a lot of those agents come out. But thankfully, they're becoming less and less effective.
Yeah, and that made me think of, too, I just seen a clip of Candace Owens. She was speaking, it was a little while ago, I think it was when she was pregnant. But it was a room full of white people. room full of white people. One sister comes in line and they're asking, she's doing like a Q&A. She's asking like, why do you think black people are in here? And when I say this woman, this is what I mean, these fast talking, pseudo intellectuals, really. She gets to speaking, oh, black people aren't here. It's because of the culture.
No.
The culture has made them believe that, we don't have that. And like, she literally just dances all around why black people really don't rock with her. You have a lot of your points are anti-black. That's what it is. You don't recognize the system of white supremacy. Okay, that's just the basis of why we don't fuck with you, to be honest. But they will gaslight us into thinking, no, hus, y'all, they're just ignorant. They don't know, they have no clue what's really what. They're just too wrapped up in democratic propaganda. They don't know, it's like, don't belittle our intelligence like that. Okay, like seriously.
You notice that they don't ever talk to anybody else like that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. They only do that. Roland Martin only starts cussing and beep, beep, beep all over the place when he's talking to black folks. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stupid and all this stuff. In between KFC and Popeye's chicken, he finds time to, talk down on foundational black Americans, or just black people in general, because they think the Democratic Party is a religion or a race. Like, O.J. Simpson, you say, I'm not black, I'm O.J. And they basically all say, I'm not black, I'm Democrat. And this generation, all of us together, collectively, once again, we got a dustpan, a mop, a broom, and we are cleaning house. And the first step that we're really taking care of is the Democratic plantation, and it's going down. And this is why you're starting to see people like that Jason dude and whoever be popping up, because they can't just go to their typical Democratic shills, because we have ran those folks so far off the block they can't really come around us anymore, right? If Vanessa Jones walked in, that door, we'd run them out. Roland Martin can't come in here. Broken Buck Kari Sellers can't come in here. Donna Brazile. I mean, there are Democratic shills that we don't even see anymore. They're gone because we have cleaned house and got rid of them. So now they're going just pulling them off the street. Anybody, you vote Democrat, I'm gonna give you a damn YouTube, a TikTok, and go yell at black folks for 30 minutes, right? And eventually,
or do the theatrics.
Yeah, oh my God,
like
the
that
theatrics is crazy.
Dude that was talking like MLK. I seen that video.
Yeah. Oh God,
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
it's just getting to the point where they're bad. And one of those other organizations was Black Lives Matter. Remember, a couple years ago, they came and they hijacked all of the protests, the Breonna Taylor, the George Floyd. It went from black justice to vote for, Joe Biden, get Trump out of office. So they know how to bring in new people. But the beautiful thing is back in the old days, those new people would linger for 10, 20 years. And you'd see them, and you'd damn near grow old with these people. You know what I mean? Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Now these folks is getting, Joe Biden. What do they get now? Summer? You know what I'm saying? You remember, what was that? The NFAC not fucking around. Scam master agent, what that last summer. You know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter can't come around anymore. So it all goes back to that gatekeeping and that cleaning house, to where it starts with the Democrats, then we work to the shills, then we work to all their agents, and eventually it's going to get to the point where there won't be any of them, and it'll just be the black grassroots on top of everything, the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. You mentioned running the Democrats off. Not only, I would say, not only are foundational black Americans representing so well, we're running the shills off, and we're discrediting the shills like Roland Martin, Jason Lee, and all that stuff. We're essentially having the Democratic Party itself be scared. I mean, there was a video of Bernie Sanders taking pictures and everything like that. Somebody asked him about reparations. This man started running away. What's her name? Stacey Abrams. Yep. You know what I'm saying? She's shaking hands.
She's in Nigeria now.
Hi guys. Yeah. We ran her out the country.
She's in Nigeria.
We ran her out the country.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
ran her ass gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they're used to coming on stages and everybody giving them applause, and now they're getting boos. You know what I'm saying? Now nobody's messing with them. That's why Kamala had that small little ass party. She can't go out in front of a stage and have the whole audience applaud her, whole audience love her. She can't do that. She has to have anytime you see her speaking now, it's a small ass, dark ass room, you know what I'm saying, with nobody in there, because nobody likes her. We're running the politicians out the paint, and the shills and everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said Kamala Harris, because she's an immigrant herself, a second generation immigrant. And that's a big part of the Democratic agenda, is bringing in these immigrants and really practicing benign neglect. They're flooding in all these immigrants so they can avoid talking about or really addressing our issues. They want us to put everybody before us.
Man, it's who's who, right? The who's who of Earth, you know what I'm saying? They putting dogs and cats over black people in America now. I mean, literally. I mean, Joe Biden has literally made more animal protections than he has for foundational black Americans, all right? Google it, check it out.
Wow.
Look at his animal rights record, okay? It's way better than his black rights record, all right? So you're starting to see them put people above us, or they're continuing to put people above us, because in a lot of ways they want to replace the black vote based on the things that we're talking about. So they see the future of the black grassroots, and they see that we're not messing with them no more. These people are very, like we said, when it comes to anti-black racism, they're very intelligent. So they see the numbers, and you have number crunchers, people who literally just get paid to look at all the polls and all the forecasting, and they're seeing that black vote is slipping every single week, right? As you were just saying, brother, Raphael Warnock barely beat Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Herschel Walker can't even talk. You know what I'm saying? And he barely beat him. Stacey Abrams now is an international advisor in Nigeria. So she's trying to run game on tethers over there because she couldn't run that on foundationals right here. So if you look, you know, our victories are big. I always say, and one of my principles is that our victories don't look like everybody else's victories because we ain't everybody else, right? So you got to see the little telltale signs to see where we're winning. And where we're winning is to the fact that they have shills that are, you know, getting ran off the block, out the paint, down the street, out the county. And now they're trying to go get Latinos, but a lot of Latinos come here and they vote Republican because they don't subscribe to the, you know, the covert racism. In their home countries, they're used to overt racism. All the black Latinos, they're used to talking to them straight directly. So they don't play that liberal game where we're going to pretend to like black folks. Julio and Jorge and Mr. Muhammad or whoever the hell comes over here next week, they come over here and they see whiteness as the Republican Party. So therefore, they want to go vote for them. So the Democrats are in a hard place where do we continue to bring in these people to try to replace the black vote, but yet they vote for the Republicans, or do we continue to deal with black folks, but we not dealing with them? So we have a very, very monumental moment to where we can literally get rid of the Democratic Party, or at least, you know, get them completely out the paint and get them to where, you know, they're non-consequential. So I believe that they continue to put people above us, and we're going to continue to run all their asses out the paint. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to be a part of it, actually.
Yeah. And as far as what you were saying about them putting other groups of people ahead of ours, that can only happen, and that has only happened because we've allowed that to be so. Okay, we've been the ones being the champion for every other group. Okay, not even in America, in Africa, and all over the world. You know, MLK and Muhammad Ali were talking about stuff going on in Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? And stuff going on in South Africa. We've always been that way with other groups of people. Black Lives Matter, for an example. They were all like, oh, okay, we got kids in cages. We all got to fight for them and everything like that. We got to deal with them. And then we got to deal with LGBT. Now we're at this point where everybody's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. You know, a lot of these Hispanics, Venezuelans, and all that stuff are coming over here in cities like DC, Chicago, New York, and stuff like that. And the black residents are saying, we want them gone. You know, I would say 20 years ago, most black people probably would have been like, we got to sacrifice. There are brothers and sisters and people of color. And, you know, we have to do this. But now it's like, first off, we not the same. Okay, we are not the same people. They do not deserve to come over here. So that stuff is stopping, and we're putting a barrier. Even though they're pushing, we're putting a barrier to that and a hurdle to that because we're not allowing that, and we're not accepting this black and brown coalition or people of color coalition, minority or anything. We're done essentially being the heroes of the world, being the Avengers of the world. We're done with that. You know, so that's really become a hurdle to their plans to replace us.
Absolutely. You know, and I think because of that, also we've had some people going a little extreme. Okay. Like I said, they present the extremes, you know, and that's why some of our people tend to fall for that as well. Just like choosing the lesser of two evils. But you got some of us, you know, like our good brother Ice Cube, you know, a few years ago during the elections, you know, he tried to do the agenda for black people?
The contract for Black America.
Right. He tried to present it to both parties, you know. I think he talked to Trump. People was mad at him for talking to Trump. Okay, they wouldn't even, black people was mad at him. So how could you betray us like that? You know, and it's like, okay, this is about us getting tangibles. Okay, this is about us putting ourselves first. I don't give a damn who we talking to. I'm talking to the people who's going to fight.
I know
for
that's
us.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And then you had the Democrats that wasn't even trying to hear it. You know, they wasn't even trying to talk to the brother.
Still ain't.
It still ain't. You know, and still haven't. They talking about I think Biden even said after the elections we'll have a call look at it or something like. Never did. Okay, just went off into the abyss. Never even thought about it.
Talk to Cardi B though, right?
But talk to Cardi B. Coincidentally, ironically, right? But again, from that you get some of the extremes because now you got some black people running around like blacks for Trump. Trump 2024, you know, and it's like to a degree I can get it, you know, Biden ain't shit. But also Trump got anti-blackness as well. He's still a white supremacist. You know, let's not get too wrapped up in the fact that he, you know, it seemed like he did a little more for us than Biden and Joe is. You know, we got our little COVID checks and things like that. You know, let's not get too wrapped up in that. You know, we also have to look at him unbiasedly as well. Just because we're not about to vote for Biden again don't mean we about to run back to the Trump plantation. Okay, so have y'all seen that as well? Especially, let me say, I think it's like, I don't want to put that on black men, but I feel like I've seen something about
it's a lot of black
men that was
unfortunately it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I said this before because when when Trump's mugshot went out and they were all like, man, they're doing this to stop, which they are. They're trying to sabotage Trump, trying to stop his momentum. But we have to understand the intention of everybody. Some people think that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's not the case.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You have to look at the intention of all of the things that Trump has done, why he's done those things, and then look at Biden. People talk about, hey, man, the stimulus checks. I think Sexy Red says something like that. Like, we got stimulus checks.
And
okay, you did. But everybody got stimulus checks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Trump hasn't done anything specifically to help black people, to elevate black people. Like, look at the black economy. Okay, well, look at everybody's economy. You know what I'm saying? You know, look, you can't sit up there and look at it that way. Trump didn't do anything with the intention of this is going to help black people and I'm going to do this so black people can live better. He's not done anything like that. Okay. Trump has a very racist history when you're talking about his history as far as discrimination in hotels, the Central Park Five, which he, as the president, still refused to apologize even after DNA acquitted those brothers. Okay. So we have to look at the intention behind the life that we were living under Trump. He did what he did for the country, and because we live in the country, we gain benefits from that. Right. But it's not like he's all like, black people, I got you, I'm gonna look out for you. He was never like that, and he's not like that now. So we have to stop looking at it like, well, Biden is bad, but look, I mean, Trump was better. Why though?
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
That's the thing. What was his intention? Why was our lives better under him? Is it because he was looking out, or is it because by happenstance, if I'm making more jobs, black people are gonna get more jobs?
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
So it's like that.
Business for people like him. I hear a lot of black people, specifically like business owners. Oh, well, he's a businessman. That's why I like him. But it was like, well, he's not putting black business first.
Yeah, absolutely. Black folks gotta love somebody. That's what it is when it comes to politics. It can't just be I'm independent and I'm going to vote for our interests. Black folks have to be on one of those plantations. That's why the average black voter is somebody who is warped mentally. And this is why it takes a strong person to say, I'm going to vote either independent black grassroots or I'm going to sit on my vote. And the average black person has been conditioned for years, 60 plus years, to say, I have to choose. And we always have to make a hero and a villain out of the dominant society. We can't accept that maybe they both villains. And matter of fact, historical records have proven that they're both villains. Yeah. You're not, you got the Joker and the Joker, all right? There's no Batman around here. There's no Superman. You're dealing with two villains at the same time. And a lot of these people, blacks for Trump, blacks for Biden, blacks for, whoever they bring out as next, they feel that they have to pick a side in the dominant society because they can't fathom a world where both of the people from the dominant society don't like black people, right? That crushes them, because you got to understand, a voter, in a lot of ways, anybody who subscribes to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, I always tell people, there's really no such thing as a black Democrat or a black Republican. You can go vote for them, okay? But when you go to their committees and their functions, your ass is a 5th, 6th, 7th class citizen, all right? So you can't really be one. A white person can be a Republican. A white person can be a Democrat. No black person can truly be one. You can't be accepted. You can come to the goddamn party all you want to, but your ass is going to be fixing the food, fixing the plates. You're going to be sitting in the front yard and you're not going to be treated, the same. If you don't get treated equal amongst quote unquote family, then you ain't family. You're just a foreigner, right? So you can't really be a black Republican or a black Democrat. What you can be, the only thing that a black person on this planet can be, and that's black first. That's the only thing you can belong to and get real equal, opportunities. So these people who got to be pro this or pro that, these are just people who have to make, a hero and a villain so they can feel good at night and say, well, I didn't vote for the villain, I voted for the hero. And if you look, that's what politics has been for the last 60 years. One black person saying, this is my hero, the other saying, this is my villain, one saying, this is my plantation, and the other saying, that's the plantation. So if your plantation is red or your plantation is blue, you're still on a plantation. So come on over to the black side.
Another aspect of it too is, what we voting for, what we supposed to be voting for is resources, it's tangibles, you know, it's something that's actually going to help us as a community. That's what people, that's what other groups go vote for, you know. They're looking for the person that's going to bring the most back to that community, you know. And on both sides, we don't really get offered tangibles from Republicans or Democrats, if we're being real. You know, we got the Republicans who might say, well, close the borders, you know, that's going to help more Americans get jobs. But that's not necessarily a tangible, you know. Again, that's not even directly for us. It's for Americans. It's for everybody. Their main concern is really non-black Americans. You know what I'm saying? And helping them out and getting jobs and things of that nature, and keeping Americans working for themselves. And then on the other side, you got the of course, all of the symbolic BS that Democrats come out, which is, you know, the Black Lives Matters and the, you know,
Emmett Till statues, George Floyd statues.
Come on, we haven't been getting anything tangible coming back to our communities, you know. And so that's why we're seeing this new push from people like us who's fighting back against it, because now it's like, well, what the hell are we voting for, you know? There's a new thing, no tangible, no vote.
Because one of the things that they would do is us specifically, as foundational Black Americans, we're the most guilt-tripped person. We're the most, y'all should feel so bad. Why don't y'all do this? Y'all supposed to be the heroes of the world. Y'all supposed to be this. Now, when it comes to politics, we get guilt-tripped a lot when it comes to, you know, your people died for you to have the right to vote. Your people did die for you to have the right to vote, or whatever the case is. So you got to vote, because it would be disrespectful to your people if you don't vote, right? You have to vote. But the thing is that why was voting so important for them back then? You have to really think about, okay, when I've gotten into debates about that, why was that so important for them? That's because voting brought tangibles. Voting was, you're voting for the person who's going to decipher where the resources go. Okay, what community is the resource going to go? Is the funding going to go to the school? Is the funding going to go to the street? Is the funding going to go here or here? That's why you vote. And voting back then, you were voting for certain people who are going to put forth resources, going to put forth tangibles, going to make jobs or opportunities and stuff for Black people. Now, all of that's been stripped. And now they're all like, well, you know, he still did die for you to vote, so you just vote off of principle. No other group of people are voting off of the principle or morality of voting. They're voting specifically off of the business mindset of, I'm doing this for my people to get some type of resources or to get some type of policy, legislation, something. It's only us that's like, your people died for you to have the right to vote. I would say this: if our people died for us to have a certain job and we can work that job, but they're like, okay, you know, you can work this job, but we're not going to pay you. You can still come and work, but we're not going to give you any money. People be all like, no, I'm not going to work this. I know my people died for us to get this job, but I'm not going to work here if I'm not getting anything out of it. That's the same way with politics. Yeah, our people did die, but I mean, they were getting some, we're not, so we're not going to vote.
Right, that's a fact.
No tangibles, no vote. I love that. I love I love the terminologies. If you look at it, we're getting to the age now where we replace all those old words and, you know, vote blue no matter who and all those terms. And we brought in new terms that are more indicative of what we do. I always tell people it's about misrepresentation, miseducation, and misdirection. And one of those three, or all those three, are what they're going to always do to us as, you know, Black voters in America. So the no tangibles, no vote, you know, I don't want to say policy, but that belief, that approach, that literally strikes fear in the Democrats and the Republicans as well. To your point, brother, where these blacks for Trump, that go for y'all too, okay? That go for everybody. It's no tangibles, no vote. And it doesn't matter who you're voting for. If you are not providing policies for certified foundational Black Americans, we're just not going to rock with you, point blank, period. And, you know, everybody else does it. I always tell people, nobody's upset when we do it. They're just mad that we're to the party now. Because when you know, when they was in the party and they was throwing food all over the place and, you know, hitting the damn pinata and stuff, it was okay. It's when foundational Black Americans start to practice the same thing that everybody else practices. So when we come in and we say no tangibles, no vote, we're going to do for self, we're going to be independent and Black grassroots, now all of a sudden it's a dreaded thing, right? Now all of a sudden it's a bad deal. And I'm of the belief and of the onus is find out what pisses off the dominant society and do it.
I love it.
No, for real. And I'm glad you brought up us specifically too. You know, we're always, our focus is foundational Black Americans, African Americans, freedmen, however you want to put it. Okay. But we should be the center focus, you know, for our political gains, for any type of political moves, social moves, in every aspect, to be honest. We should be at the center, at the focus. Now, I just want to touch on that too, though, because they do, again, they're bringing in all these immigrants. They got all of these, really, I want to say misrepresentatives on both sides for us. And we have, people that has Caribbean backgrounds. They have, their lineage goes back to they first, second generation immigrants. They're cosplaying as Black Americans. They don't want to really want to expose where their family is from. And that's because they're trying to cover up the fact that they're not really connected to us. They're not really from here, and that's where they're able to use them. But, it's a big misconception with us. Everybody try to put on us that we all African. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it even matter? We're all Black, right? We're all come from Africa. What's the big deal? Not even, and they skipping over the fact that many of us was already here, man.
Yes.
We've been here. I don't know about y'all, but I know my granddaddy was Cherokee. I got an aunt that was Blackfoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know for sure I got lineage to natives that were already here. Like, my family been here. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all family been? Y'all know about anything about y'all lineage?
My mother used to tell us all the time that we were part Indian. If you get her on that story about us being natives, she won't stop. I love you, Mom, but she will just keep going. And we were here. We didn't come from here. We've been here. My grandmother told me, and mine told me, and she will go on and on about that. So, that's definitely part of my family.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. My brother was actually tracing us all the way back to, he got us to like the early 1700s. He was going, further and further, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we've all been told that, it's no coincidence, right? Like we could all sit here, and didn't I say earlier, our grandparents would sit there, and they would talk to each other like they knew each other, right? So the very fact that we all can share that, ain't nobody just making that up now. It ain't no big coincidence that we all got that in us now.
Come on,
so the facts are finally getting out there, but it's based on us doing it. So
Exactly. That's been a running joke. Black people be like, I got that good hair because I got a little Indian in my family. That's been a running joke for Black people for a long time. Right. But even every joke even really has, some truth in it. Honestly, most jokes stem from some sort of truth.
Yep.
And that's because most of us, that's been passed along, although they don't want to, again, they don't teach us that in schools. They don't want to teach the whole truth in schools. But it's been passed along through our family lineages. Right. That's like, we from South Carolina, our family from we Seminoles, we Gullah Geechee, like we tell each other where our family is from, even if we've moved, we've relocated, we don't really know much, we're not in contact with that side of our family, or we're not in contact, we're not in touch with that culture anymore, our indigenous culture. We still know, and it's like, you're not about to gaslight a whole group of people and tell us we ain't from where we from. Okay? You're not about to tell me what the hell I'm from.
No,
okay? I don't believe my granddaddy every day or my parents every time over anybody else. Okay.
Yes.
We would know the best. But that brings me, that should bring us to, of course, how could we not bring it up? Reparations. Okay.
Let's go.
They trying to water down the reparations movement, y'all. They are not trying to give us our reparations, okay? And they trying to, one of the major things they're using, forms of propaganda they're using is, we're all Black. We all deserve reparations. We all should get a piece of the pie. My family been here since the 80s. We've been here since the 60s. Why can't we get reparations?
Cut the check. We're coming to get our check. It's the reparations era. Everybody's got to understand that this is the reparations in the lineage era. The same way you have Prohibition, Civil War, all these different eras, okay? I always tell people you have the indigenous era, then you have slavery, then you have Reconstruction, civil rights, and now you have the reparations lineage era. And they're spoken simultaneously, right? You can't speak of one without the other. And we're all a part of it. And that's a fascinating, phenomenal thing. And I'm proud to be a part of it, right? So this is the reparations era, and they're going to try to throw every single thing at us. They don't like broke Black Americans, okay? So when you add trillions of dollars to Black Americans, then they get real scared, right? I mean, look what we've done when they try to keep us away from the money. So all those people out there saying we're going to take the money and go do this and that with it. The dominant society is not worried about all 50 million of us getting reparations. They're worried with about 200 of us getting it, okay? Because that's all it takes, right? We're going to do the same thing with our reparations money like we did with the country. We're going to flip it. We flipped the country. All right. So trust me, we're going to flip some reparations checks.
Oh, for sure.
And we're going to get our reparations. And all these people who have been coming in and they've been throwing at us, we've been handling them. They're to the point where they're calling up Twitter spaces and stuff. As a matter of fact, me and you, we kind of crashed a non-FBA reparation.
Yeah, a little sabotage event. We kind of came in there and did some straightening.
You should.
They still mad at Afro right now, man. They still mad at bro. So, And then,
they're like, I'll see you back in Chicago.
They was waiting on you, bro. You get off the plane and stuff. The lady from California, she was there. So, that was a collection of off-code FBA people, okay, because we do have people of the lineage who are off-code, all right, homegrown coons, and then you have, foreign coons. And when you put them together, you have people that have been trying to stifle our reparations claim. But I've noticed that the more they try to stop our reparations, the stronger we're getting. Yeah. And they're really right now on 4 or 5. They tried to get in on our reparations committees, and then we said no. They said we're all black, brother, and then we said no. Then they just like circled around the neighborhood, came back again, and you know what I'm saying, I'm black, brother. Nope, your ass is here again, go back, all right? So they keep coming around, and they keep trying to stifle what we've got. But the whole world is going to have to understand is that we are going to get our reparations. And just like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we're coming to get our check. Now, mind you, they sold us the, can't we all get along? The Martin Luther King had a dream. We went back, reclaimed Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy. Yeah. We replaced the, I had a dream speech, and we took his, we're coming to Washington to get our check. And that shows you right there that we can not only take what the dominant society does, reject it, and remove it, we can actually reclaim our foundational Black American legends and get our reparations movement moving in the same time. So this reparations lineage era is powerful, and we got to expect ops to come, but we already know we're going to do the same thing we've always done to every op. We're going to run them off the block, out the paint, and eventually they're going to have to cut that check.
One of the things about the reparations movement and why it's been progressing so fast within the last few years or so, 10, 15 years ago, reparations was not no national news. Presidents, candidates, they were not talking about nobody was talking about reparations on like a mainstream level. Now they are. Now every single candidate has spoken on reparations to some degree, whether they've agreed to mix nothing burger or whether they said no. They've spoken to it to some degree, and that's because we've gained a sense of fearlessness when it comes to our people, okay? Back before when Dr. Claude, when he was talking about reparations, and shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, when he was talking about reparations, it scared a lot of Black people. It was like, no, you're gonna make them mad. You're gonna don't make the white man mad. We have to get in and have a seat at the table and try to get in and sneak our way into reparations.
Right.
And we have to understand there's a cause and effect to that. You know what I'm saying? Now, Dr. Anderson, he was well before his time. His message was well before his time, but it's resonating now. And the cause is they'll put a whole bunch of Black faces in politics and be all like, see, you guys, you have your first Black mayor, your first Black governor, Obama, your first Black president, you're getting better, And what they do that to say, okay, things are changing, things are getting better, and when we see Obama not do anything for Black people at all, and everybody else gets something, and we suffer under him, or we suffer under this Black mayor or this Black governor and everything like that, then we've essentially lost that, seat at the table nonsense. Now you don't see Black people talking about, we need a seat at the table. Now, F the table, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're coming to get the check. We understand it's going to make white people mad. We understand it's going to make them mad. We don't give a damn about making them mad. And that's why we've been moving and progressing so fast, because we don't care about making anybody else upset.
Yeah, that's a fact. And then not only that, they will use that as a... It's really nonsensical, but they will use that as a ploy to be like, oh, well, look, you had a Black president, look what he did, you guys voted for him, like it's really y'all fault. Y'all not getting anywhere, you're not doing enough, or the people that you're voting for isn't, and it's like, y'all are putting these people in position to do this. You know who these people are, you know what I'm saying? Like of course, a lot of our people have been tricked by the false propaganda they use, and them trying to, well, yes we can, the slogans and the symbolism that they use, very easy for us to get tricked. But a lot, these people are strategic. The dominant society, they are very strategic, and they know exactly who to use to get their point across, or to get their agenda done. And I'm glad you brought up Obama specifically, because there was a lot of Black men actually that were killed under the Obama administration. That was like the start of like Mike Brown and what's the other brother name? Trayvon Martin. Yep. It was a lot of situations that happened under his administration, which he really didn't do anything about. And so that aspect of the game is a huge part of should be a huge part of our political awareness as well, is knowing our protections, what protections we need. And protecting ourselves, okay? Because police is really another form. It's just another weapon, another tool, another sanction of white supremacy that has always been used against us. We know that. We know the history of police brutality, police in general, in the black community. You know, why we're not, we've never gotten along. You know what I'm saying? But they've always attacked us. And a part of that is us knowing how to protect ourselves, us policing ourselves. You know, we just had our brother, Otha Wallace. Shout out to Otha Wallace, Otha.org. Donate to the brother. He recently just got off trial, you know, and they tried to give him the death penalty, okay, for defending himself. The police officer really was harassing him, had no reason to be over there, just harassing his brother, you know. And you know, we're not gonna get into the grimy details, but the police officer ended up getting shot in the head, you know, and our brother is still alive to this day, thank God. And although they didn't get him for the death penalty, he was still found guilty for, was it manslaughter?
Manslaughter and a gun charge. Gun possession, yeah.
You know? But even cases like that, we have to examine and we have to push up because we got too many Mike Browns. We got too many George Floyds. There's too many brothers that have encountered the police and tried not to defend themselves or tried to defend themselves in the, you know, the most safest way possible, which you would think, and still end up losing their lives, you know? The importance of us knowing to protect ourselves against anybody, not just the average white person or average white supremacist walking down the street, but even these white supremacists that are empowered, you know, or in positions of power, attacking us. That is essential for our survival. It's essential, especially for y'all.
You know, when it comes to protecting ourselves, we have to understand nobody's going to protect you like you. Okay, no one's gonna care for you like you. No one's gonna love yourself like you love yourself. So when it comes to protections, what we have to do as foundational Black American men and women, we have to make sure that we watch our back at all times. We study. We got to have a military mind. Tupac Shakur used to always talk about it. Have a military mind, which means, you know, understand where you're going, understand the environment, understand that there's enemies. There's, you know, people out there lurking to come and get us. Too many times Black folks will get comfortable and we'll start dropping our guard. You guys have seen the pictures before where you'll see somebody go hang out at a bar full of the dominant society and then they'll come up missing, right? And then we'll be looking at the picture like, what were you thinking, right? So when you start talking about defending yourself and start talking about watching your back, those are things that lead to the next one. It's a domino effect, right? It creates the next person watching and understanding. When Dr. Huey P. Newton, everybody leaves out the doctor. Dr. Huey P. Newton, when he first went to jail, he went to jail for something very similar to our brother Ozone, something very similar, right? He was being harassed and it, you know, the table got turned on the oppressor, right? So, but what that was, that created a domino effect within the civil rights era. And this is why the civil rights era shifted from can't we all get along and real peaceful to the militant, the Black Panther Party, the afros, the leather coats, and the weaponry, right? The power tools. So that's what we have to do. We have to protect ourselves, but we got to take pride in it. You know, I'm loving seeing our sisters go out here to these shooting ranges and get their aim on, you know what I'm saying? Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Black women are the #1 new owners of weapons.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I just seen those statistics, right? So I love that. We got to protect each other as well. So it's not just about protecting ourselves, which is #1, because if you don't protect yourself, you're not going to be able to protect anybody. But as long as our brothers protect our sisters protect our brothers, we understand where we are. We all watch the Black child because the Black child is the most unprotected person on the planet Earth, okay? Whether that's boy or girl. But we got to have that onus of collective and being on the same page and the same accord. And as long as we have that, we'll be able to protect ourselves. Because let's be honest, once again, it was the Maroons out there putting in work and they were protecting themselves. You got a whole lot of people. I ain't going to go name all the names because we'll be here for a long time. But don't let history tell you that we was always getting our asses whooped and bending over backwards and the dominant society was just taking advantage of us. It was not happening. Like I said earlier, if we were people who took L's, we wouldn't be here right now. There were brothers and sisters that really tapped into that root work and really start putting that foot up people's you know what and holding it down. So we got to continue to maintain that same energy. And if we do so, we'll definitely be able to protect ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as protecting yourself, a lot of times that goes with having situational awareness. And a lot of times that goes with just knowing where you are and being prepared for the situation. You know, you protect yourself before you get into an altercation. You know, you put your seatbelt on before you start driving. You don't drive and then in the middle of driving, put your seatbelt on. You have that protection before going into that because you don't know when certain things are going to happen. When Dylan Roof, when he had that massacre at the church, there was, a lot of people might not know this, but there was somebody who tried to replicate that by going into a Black church, but the Black church wouldn't let him in. You know what I'm saying? And then he went to, I think it was a Walmart or a grocery store. He killed 2 other black people instead of like 10 black people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the unfortunate that the brothers had died at the grocery store, but it wasn't 10. You know, at a church or anything like that. Right. And that's because black people are starting to get to a point where, okay, we need to stop letting our guard down. They let their guard down when it came to Dylan Roof. And now the other black church were like, okay, we're not letting our guard down anymore. There's a lot of things where these shooters and all that stuff, even police officers, if we're going to be very honest, even police officers, they'll do stuff if they feel like ain't nobody looking, ain't nobody watching. You know what I'm saying? But now when we get to a point where you get pulled over or somebody gets pulled over, and a crowd of people is recording, the police officer's like, damn, I can't really do anything like this. There's certain cases where I see a black person get pulled over, I stop just to kind of watch, like the Black Panther Party used to do. I kind of like, you know, just in case there's some bullshit going. Oh shit, was we not supposed to curse?
Nah, I thought it was fine curse. I was about to say curse a couple times. Yeah.
Okay,
we should be all right.
We're gonna start that over. Okay.
Black Panther Party.
Okay. Okay. With the Black Panther Party, I learned that that's something, the situational awareness in the community looking out for each other, not just against the average white supremacists, but even against the police itself. Like, hey, we're policing you policing. Okay. Right. So if you try something, we're going to see it. You know what I'm saying? That deters them because they're cowards on the inside. And a lot of what they do, they try to do it with nobody around, with no consequences at all. If there are black people who will show, hey, there's going to be some consequences, you know, that's going to deter a lot of that. And a lot of that starts with just being ready. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, like you said, I'm glad you brought that up, is being ready, because even training, you know, we was just talking about exercising and things of that nature. But a part of the reason why you need to do that is because you shouldn't just look at it just for your health, even if you're not going to look at it for that, but look at it for your protection, you know, and not just for your protection, for your family, for your community. You know, you have to be ready for war. You know, we're already in a war, you know, but if it comes down to something physical, you're going to need that stamina. You're going to need that strength. You're going to need, you know what I'm saying? You're going to need to know how to fight, you know, how to shoot, you know, even know how to hunt if the grid go down to full body. You know, so those sort of things are important. You know, that's a necessity for not just men, but for all of us to know that we have to know how to protect ourselves. You know, literally. You know, we're the only people that's going to do it, because the damn sure ain't gonna be nobody else. Now we can't have this conversation as well. We can't have this conversation without bringing up one of the most important aspects of our culture, for our livelihood, for our survival, is businesses. You know, doing for self, working for ourselves, providing for ourselves. Black businesses definitely has grown, you know, within the last few years, 10 years, you know. And so we see a lot of that, you know, especially because we have social media, internet is so, we can create businesses just online. You know, you got, shout out to brother Ben X, you know, he talks about a lot about digital real estate, you know, so it's a lot easier for people to acquire wealth without having to lean on the dominant society, you know, and even if we have to use some of the devices like the internet, because I ain't out shit. You know, social media, these apps, most of that's not ours. We're still able to gain a sense of independence from it, you know, because we don't have to literally go into a corporate job. We don't have to walk into a non-black business and work, you know. We can just get our money right from ourselves, you know. Even if we got to cut them a little bit of percentage, we're still getting it ourselves.
You know, I believe that this is the reparations era, this is the lineage era, the black business era, the black love era. I mean, every element of our society we've taken to another notch. I believe that we've done more in the last 5 years than they did in the last 50. That's no disrespect to the past. You know, we stand on their shoulders. Without them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So it's collective, but we got to celebrate our damn selves in the process, right? I'm seeing little black kids with lemonade stands, okay? Real ones too, right? I ain't even talking about some ice and stuff. I'm talking about they got sophisticated lemonade stands. Young black boys and girls have shirt companies. They're out there printing shirts. And that's that entrepreneurship that has been taught in, you know, brought to our youth, and our youth are taking it to another level.
Sure.
And that's the most beautiful thing. So when you see, our sisters out here getting money, our brothers out here getting money, and then they're passing it down to the kids, and the kids are out here getting money, that shows you that we got a very, very bright future. Our future is very bright. And what I love the most right now, what we're doing in terms of Black businesses, we're operating from an independent aspect opposed to going to the dominant society, right? We're not needing to be sponsored anymore.
Right.
And we have no business needing to be sponsored, not in this era. This is not the 80s or the 70s, right? This is the era where you can always have that wild card in your pocket. You can pull it out. You can go from a millionaire overnight. Or you can slow grind yourself. Whatever it is you choose to do, you have financial literacy. I hate when people say, well, we can't give y'all reparations because of financial literacy. Black people are the most financial literate people because a lot of times finances determine whether we eat tonight, right?
That's true.
You can't tell a hustler, how to count his money, right?
Right.
So we've been hustling hard, our brothers and sisters, as well as our kids, from the lemonade stand to the clothing shop, all the way up to these stores that are popping up in every community. We're getting to the point where a lot of these, non-foundational Black American people that sell that poison in our community, we're going to get to the point where they're not going to be around anymore. And all the grants that the dominant society gives them, all the money, all the loans, the stimulus package that they receive aren't going to mean anything when we build our own businesses through independent, intellectual properties, and we support each other. So therefore, that's the whole collective. That's the trifecta. You got the business, you got the brothers and sisters who promote it. And with that said, Mr. Jorge, Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Mutombo, they're going to have to go find another neighborhood to go sell their junk. And we're going to replace that with good foundational Black American business, with good foundational Black American soul, and we're going to make good foundational Black American money.
Yes, absolutely. I love everything you said.
Absolutely.
Everything you said.
Yeah.
We have, and this goes back to restoring our culture to where it used to be. We used to have. I remember growing up, and there was a Black lady. She was selling candy. You know what I'm saying? And she was called the Candy Lady because we would go to her, not 7-Eleven or whatever the case. We would go to her and we would buy candy, or we would go here and we would buy dessert, pies, or whatever the case is. That used to be our culture. And then, the dominant society engineered a lot of anti-Black stigma about Black businesses and everything like that. So it was anytime you went to a Black business, they're going to be charging you way too much money. It's not going to be as good. Black people can't do business, right? And a lot of that stigma was embedded in the minds of Black people. So that's why when you would leave town and be like, man, where's a Black-owned business? People like, oh, here you go with the Black-owned business stuff. We got to support Black-owned businesses. And you would be the black sheep. Now, since we're starting to restore our culture back to where it was, you don't see that anymore. Now you see entire websites just dedicated to networking other Black-owned businesses. You see different events just dedicated to having Black-owned businesses come together. Like, for instance, Tariq's event with the expo. There was so many good, high-quality FBA-owned Black businesses, and a lot of people patriotised them while they were there, and they're going to continue to do so because, hey, I didn't know that you had this business. I was looking for somebody who could do this. I was looking for this or that. We're having stuff like that now. We're having Instagram pages that's only dedicated to Black-owned business, or Twitter pages. We're starting to see the restoration in the Black-owned businesses, and that becoming a sense of pride, because it used to be a sense of pride, and then it's like, oh, Black people can't do business right, but we're getting that pride about our business and about our entrepreneurship. We're getting that back. So that's a really good thing. And that's what's going to ultimately free us and have us be completely independent of the dominant society.
That's real. No, that's a fact. And I'm glad that we started off on that note, knowing that we support our businesses, and even the financial literacy point, those is all that aspect is very real and very much watered down, or not promoted, especially from the dominant society. You're not going to see those talking points from people on mainstream media,
Right, true.
But we gotta be a little honest too. Some of these Black-owned businesses be a little egregious. Now, I'm not gonna say we shouldn't give each other grace, because we went to Walmart, we went to Wendy's, we went to McDonald's, had terrible experiences. It still went back 11 times. All right. Then when we get to a Black-owned business, we have 1 or 2 bad experiences, and we cut them off. We bashing them on the internet. We ready to, tear down the whole business. So we definitely got to have grace and empathy when it comes to our, especially the youngins, that's just starting their businesses, but supporting our people. We have to have grace and empathy in that aspect. But some of us, I will say, I've noticed some of us, it's a lack of preparation, especially because it is so easy to access on the internet to just start a business. Some people just, you got some people just trying to get a quick little scheme. It's not about longevity. It's not about passing down wealth. It's about, let me just get this money right quick because, I could do this little seminar and, people gonna listen to it. You pay $50 for it and, you get this little book and get some information that you probably could have got off Google for free, or I'm going to start this business. I'm going to sell this little bit of merchandise because, something I said went viral and I'm going to just sell this right quick and that's going to be that, which is, it's okay to monetize off, things like that. But again, it's not about building the wealth of the group. Some of us have lost that goal, you know what I'm saying? And looking at things in a short-term aspect. So we do get black-owned businesses that's open. We walk up, it's say Monday through Friday, and we walk up in the and it's closed on a Tuesday. They
closing early and everything. You knocking on the door like, hey, sorry, we're closed.
What?
Go, huh?
Wait a fucking minute. What is going on? Even, working for a black-owned business, you see that there's, some of the things, some of the aspects within the dynamics of the company may not be all the way thorough. It's some finesse going on. There's some, you shorthanded people and things like that with their money. So I know for a fact I have firsthand experiences from black-owned business.
Yeah,
I done dealt with a bunch of bullshit from white companies as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna keep it real. I done work for black-owned businesses. It's like, nigga, where's my money? Or nigga, why am I working this late? Or nigga, why am it's something.
Oh man, go ahead, bro. I know Chicago.
Man,
I want to hear the Chicago answer, bro.
Listen, I don't know why. I was one day I had, this was some years ago, an overnight job. I was working overnight. I got off. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you know what? I want some food, but breakfast food. I want some like pancakes, some waffles, some eggs. I want that. That's what I wanted, right? So I'm looking for black-owned, breakfast spots or whatever. I find some, and they look good. I go to it. The store's completely closed. I'm talking about, I'm looking in the window, the ovens is out the stove. I'm talking about the store abandoned. It looked like a bomb hit it. And I'm all like, why is this still on the website though? You know what I'm saying? I go to another place that said that they were open. And I'm like, sorry, we're closed today and tomorrow. I'm all like, but the website says that you guys were open. You're not doing everything completely thorough. I've gone to a lot of different businesses, and what's on the website is different from what you see when you get there. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain food item on the website. I had an experience with that. A certain food item on the website. When you get there, we don't sell that anymore. Okay, well, if you don't sell it anymore, you need to take that off your menu because that's what I came here for. You know what I'm saying? And just be as black first as I am, me being me, I would still I'm like, if you can't get that, let me get this then. You know what I'm saying? Instead of leaving. But most people would have just left. Most people don't want to compromise on what they wanted to eat just to support a black-owned business. So there are some black-owned businesses that need to understand that you do have a negative stigma just by being a black-owned business alone.
Right.
So everything you do has to be thorough. And when you mess up and when you're half-assed, when you're amateur, when you don't do things all the way, when you coming late, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs, love them to death, but they be showing up late, leaving early, don't finish the job. I've done that. So,
Brother,
come on. Yeah. We had a situation today, okay? We had a situation. But that's the, Lord. That's the thing. You got to be thorough with your business. You know what I'm saying? You got to be thorough.
Oh man. All right. So being down south in the deep south, you know what I'm saying, Savannah, Georgia, deep south, a lot of the black-owned businesses down there have been around for eons. Okay, and they're real mom and pop places, right?
Nice.
So those businesses have been around so long, they operate a little differently than some of my people back home in like Ohio or whatnot, or Chicago, or you know what I'm saying, New York. You know what I'm saying? So. But what I will say is this: anybody who has a black-owned business, this goes for the owner and the consumer. Don't do something with a black person you wouldn't do with the dominant society. Okay, don't come in there talking about these prices is too high, but you won't say that at Walmart.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, don't be telling people you buy, you go type shit. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't say that to the dominant society when they walked in. As long as we operate on that level, we'll be good. So that goes for any black business, no matter where you are. whether that's in the South, the Midwest, the East Coast, or the West Coast. We got to maintain the same type of independence and practice the same type of way we are with everybody else. That way our dollar will circulate throughout the community and we will be able to bring it back home. But you can't get it that way when the owner is acting different to the consumer and then the consumer is acting different to the owner. And then y'all don't even get together and y'all already ended it before it started. So in terms of Black businesses, stay doing what you do, but do it Black independent first, and that goes from top to bottom.
Yeah, just to add on that for a second, we have to have ethnic code of conduct. That other people have.
Absolutely.
I have never, ever seen an Asian get on his phone and say he's not going to an Asian-owned business. I've never seen that. Even if he has a bad experience at a restaurant, he ain't gonna put it on blast. He's not gonna make a tweet about it. We got Black people all like, I can't believe they told me I can't be naked in this store. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got Black people who do that. That's against the ethnic code of conduct that everybody else has. If they don't like a restaurant, they just not gonna go. They ain't gonna put it on blast. Against their own people. You know what I'm saying? So that's gotta stop.
Yeah, it has to be there has to be, we have to get rid of the double standards. You know, it has to be a balance. You know, if we can hold our people accountable, we can, you know, be fair. And again, still recognize the issues we have, but also, you know, we got to recognize the issues we bring, you know? Just like you said, what was it, like a year ago, we had the sisters coming in half naked, sisters trying to drag one of the stores because they said you can't wear bonnets. It's like, you're not going to walk in Ruth Chris with a bonnet on. Why are you walking in my business with a bonnet on? You know, it's like, just because we all Black don't mean, and I understand why you're wearing it. I wear it too. Doesn't mean that I want you, you know, coming in my business and, you know, downplaying the look. You know, it's an atmosphere that needs to be set. So we have to understand, like, if you're gonna dress up for Ruth Chris and Eddie V's and all these other places, then you need to have that same respect when it comes to, if anything, more. You need to have even more respect for your own stuff, because you want to make sure that their image is representing not only, you know, their company, but the rest of our people as well. It's a Black-owned business. You know, a lot of the new thing is putting a sticker on the front that this is a Black-owned business. You know, so they know that this is Black people are running it, Black people are working in it, Black people are going to patronize it the most. You know, and so it's not just affecting their business or their company, but it's affecting all of us really in general. You know, when we disrespect our brothers, sisters, businesses like that. You know, we gotta have some couth. We gotta have some respect. We gotta have some love. You know, for each other and. Act like we really want people to succeed. We want our people to succeed. And doing that is just, you know, coming in acting like you got some sense. Coming there and dressing correctly. Coming there and respecting the prices. Not like, oh, wow, $50 for this?
Man.
Yeah, for
what? $35? What? Let me borrow 10. Come on. Nigga, the joke is getting old. Okay, you know, besides I done heard that. Okay,
man.
Relax.
Oh,
the price is the price, brother. You should have looked it up before you got up in here. Okay? So come on, act like you got some sense and support our businesses, man. Don't just try to put it all on them, you know, of why they're not getting support. We bring some of these issues to our people, okay? But I think this was a wonderful conversation, y'all.
Yes, indeed.
I think this was beautiful.
And we're doing this again, y'all. This ain't gonna be the last time.
Oh no, for sure. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. Definitely thank y'all, you know, for coming together with me to do this. You know, for us, Afro, this was your idea, you know. So thank you for even creating it and having me be a part of it. It's a blessing, you know. But y'all make sure y'all follow me on social media. Okay. Follow my Instagram __CFWM, Twitter _you, YouTube A to Z TV, baby. Look me up, follow me, okay, share all that.
Afro Elite on all platforms, essentially, except Instagram. It's the Afro Elite on Instagram. So Afro Elite on YouTube, Afro Elite on Instagram, and Afro Elite on the Afro Elite on Twitter. I meant to say. So yeah, everything. And Afro Elite on TikTok. I'm gonna get on there eventually one of these days. I'm gonna come back.
All of the above. First off, thank you, sister. Thank you, my brother. We finally got here to make it happen for the culture. This right here, we broke it down, you know, all aspects of society. I believe we did a good job. And, you know, every time we speak, you know, we try to make everybody proud, you know, and we try to speak from a real, you know, realistic logic aspect. Okay, no fantasies. But, you know, it's all about the culture. It's all about this era. It's all about reparations, our lineage, and just tackling the issues that plague us, but getting beyond them and actually getting some real justice and making everything happen. I've seen both of you guys go to work. This brother I've been up with on the phone until 3 a.m. making reparations petitions. You know what I'm saying? I seen you whoop everybody on FBA Jeopardy, including myself. You know what I'm saying? So we put in a lot of the work, man, but we do it for the people. So y'all follow me, Black Alpha Network. That's Black Alpha Net W1 on all platforms, and we're all going to continue to, bring that foundational Black American excellence, and we're all going to continue to represent the people real proudly. So I send everybody a certified salute.
Every day, all day. Be one, first of all,
Black
and make
first?
sure you be one. Yes. Make sure y'all share the stream, like it, and follow everybody on our platforms. All right. We appreciate y'all. And that's a wrap.
Or the coach.
We're coming to get our check.